A lot of people say they do just about anything to make a living fishing. This week's guest is doing just that and proving it by living in a van down by the river. This week, Bassmaster Classic qualifier KJ Queen on...
I'm Bob Cobb from the Bassmaster. Welcome to Mercer.
Welcome, friends, family, freeloaders, and fishing freaks. You're all welcome here at the Awkwardly Honest Fishing Podcast that goes by my last name, and that is Mercer. Welcome to a unique episode. And the coolest thing about this show is there's no rules. There's no time limits. I mean, last week's show was the longest show we ever made, but we also never had as many people leave comments that said it wasn't long enough. So the cool thing about this whole platform is there is no rules. There's no set person you're supposed to have on. There's no distance of length of talk. There's no commercials you got to go to, no breaks to pull away from. So you have no rules. And what I try to do, if you haven't caught on yet, is throw a giant mix of people. It's not all tournament anglers. It's people from the industry. It is tournament anglers, but they're all at different levels. And, you know, the fishing industry is really good about talking about people once they made it and say, man, you lived in your truck and you ate microwave popcorn and tuna to make this dream happen. But what we're not good at is a lot of times talking to them while they're working to make that dream happen. And it is crazy that when you talk to people when they make it, they look back at those days and say, man, those were the most amazing days. And this week's guest is living those days, literally living in a van down by the river. Not just any van. He is living in the Queen Machine. And to be honest, I've just always wanted to see inside the Queen Machine. I have never figured out a less awkward way to ask to see inside of it. So as soon as I asked KJ Queen, I said, hey, can we do a podcast from inside the Queen Machine? He agreed, and well, the rest is history. I hope you enjoy. KJ Queen, you have done exactly what I asked you to do. I had one request. I'm like, if we do a podcast together, will you do it from within the Queen Machine?
I am in the Queen Machine 100%. This is it. Living the lifestyle, and this is a quick little sneak peek of what it's about. So this is it.
The Queen Machine got a lot less creepy this year when you wrapped it. When it was just a white van, it was a little more creepy, no?
Yeah, I've had a lot of people tell me that I still need to go on the side of it and put in free candy or play some ice cream music in the background.
Oh, wow. That'd be the greatest thing to weigh into, ice cream music.
Yeah, pretty good idea. You never know.
Speaking of weigh in, am I wrong or you did not weigh into the Gambler at the Classic? Is that correct?
With the Gambler?
You normally weigh in. No, but you normally weigh in.
Yeah.
You got to know. And
yeah. And that's
what
your
I song for the Classic, right?
I changed it up. The only reason I did that is because like they want something unique and something a little bit different. And I'm like, all right, well, I'll change it up a little bit. But from now on, it's going to be the Gambler, no doubt. Because I mean, I didn't have the best finish at the Classic, and there you go. There's why. Got to play the Gambler the whole time. So I figured out my lesson on that one.
Yeah. Ironically, I always thought the Gambler, I'm like, there's one spot that this will really work. And it was the Bassmaster Classic. And then you came out and I was like, no Gambler this time around.
Yep. I was played some Born Ready. I reckon I wasn't too born ready on that one.
What do you feel like now? The week after your first, the Classic knocks the crap out of you, but being your first one, what is the feeling the week after?
The feeling that I get now is I want to get there so bad now, more than even ever. I want to get back and grind at it. And I got the first Classic nerves out of the way, this, that, and another, a little shaky here and there, but it's like, all right, I want to win that Classic. I want to be Christie. I want to be the guy at the top. I want to hold that trophy. And that's my goal from here on out. I want to make the Classic every single year. I want to be there at the Classic. It was a dream come true for me. Cause I've never, it's something that I've always, ever since I was little bitty, I was going and watching these guys weighing these big fish across this big stage. And, it's like to get there and to work at it. I went through the high school fishing, qualified through it, to go to the college, and I made it through college, and I made it into the opens, and then qualified for the elites first year at the opens, and then qualified from the elites into the classic. And it's like, there's no other platform that you can go. It's like you're at the top of the top, like, and to work that hard at it and that long at it and to finally get there, it was a dream come true. I mean, there was no doubt about it.
And you just really went through it really quickly. It seems like a blink of an eye, but you really haven't. If you look through your career, through high school, through college, through the opens, you haven't had many speed bumps along the way, have you? I mean,
knock on wood. No, I haven't. It's been pretty nice, pretty flawless on qualified and getting through. And, a lot of that, I really think, I'm not lying to you, I really think it's Queen Tackle. With our product that we've come out with, we have something that's very unique. It's different. And with having something that's unique and different, that's the whole thing, ballpark in fishing nowadays. You got to have something that sticks out to everything else, because it's easy enough for somebody to go down through there and scan down a ledge and be like, well, they're sitting right there. You can see them. I mean, with technology nowadays, there's no level of advancement with having, I got this unit and I got this unit. Well, they're basically the same. And there's no difference in the advantages nowadays. So you got to have tackle advantages that gives you that little edge. And I swear I felt like, I qualified and won the team of the year with Bassmasters. And it was like the first year that we come out with our Queen Tackle Switchblade. Like the first year I had a prototype, had two of them. Went to Gunnersville, first time I ever threw it. My partner, he was sitting there throwing a different vibrating jig, and it was like a 7-to-1 ratio. Like, it was crazy in practice. And in the tournament, it was the same way. I mean, we sat there, we had 28 and a half pounds, finished like second in it, almost won it, got beat out. But, it was one of them days. It's like, yeah, this makes a difference. And then, like, from then on, I threw it like in every college event after that. I threw that switchblade every single event, and I ended up winning team of the year that year. And I used the exact same product, same exact tackle, the flipping jig, the switchblade. I used it in the opens and qualified my first year using it in the opens. So, like, I know for a fact, there's no doubt in my mind, it makes a difference. Because I mean, yeah, I can catch a fish every once in a while, but it helps whenever you have something when they're eating it good, and like you can go behind people and still throw it and get bit behind people. And that's a huge ballpark with our way that we fish, and how people, it's not a matter of locating them as much now. It's a matter of getting them to bite. And, it helps, no doubt in my mind, 100%.
Is it true that you guys started Queen Tackle as a way to fund your future as a professional angler?
In a way, yeah. It was. When I was in college, we first started up, and it's like, we're looking at a business for me and my dad just to kind of hop on board and grow. And then it kind of turned into, all right, now you're fishing the opens. It's like, all right, now you're fishing the elites. It's like, let's blow this thing up. Let's make Queen Tackle massive. And, and it's one of my big supporters. And, I wouldn't be able to do it without my Queen Tackle business, helping with funds here and funds there. It definitely 100% a huge factor in my game. But
do you worry that you won't be able to, as your career in the elites continues to take off, do you worry that you won't be able to focus on the tackle game as much? Like guys like John Cruz are a rarity to have a successful tournament career and a successful lure company.
Yes. And that is one of the places that we're dealing with right now. We're finally getting up. Once people use it, it's not a matter of them catching fish. They're going to catch fish on it once they use it. It's just a matter of getting it in their hands. And we finally got enough people now where it's getting in their hands. My dad's getting worked to death right now because he's got another job, and then also with Queen Tackle. And so, like, and I'm not there because I'm traveling on the road. Whenever I'm at the house, I'm at the at the house, I'm working on tackling, putting out orders, and doing this, that, and another. So we're starting to grow, and we're gonna have to start growing in the company ourselves and growing out, and probably hiring some new people on and getting it going. So. It's a good thing, though. It's a good thing.
Yeah, that's a great thing. And so we'll put the link in this deal, and hopefully a bunch of people support it and check out some of those
Awesome.
products. Is it true you won your first tournament when you were 7 years old?
I was. Do
you realize that makes a lot of tournament anglers, a little bit of them right now that hate you? Just like, there's 40-year-olds still trying to win their first one, and I won one when I was 7.
I did. I took me and Papa Queen, we went out, and it wasn't a massive tournament. It was, a little Thursday night get together, 30, 40 boats. But I was like, Papa, I want to fish a tournament. Like, let's go fish a tournament. And he's like, oh, you're going to get cold out there now, boy. You sure you want to go? I want to go. Like, there's no doubt in my mind. I want to be out there. Let's go fish it. So we go out there, we go fish it, and it gets dark. I'm sitting in there, just shivering. He was right. I was cold, but I'll never forget this to my dying day. We're sitting there, and he throws up with a Zoom trick worm on one side of the dock. I throw up on the right side of the dock with a Zoom trick worm. He sets back, says, I got a big one, get the net. I said, I got a big one, you get the net. And it was, both of us had a big one on. We got it back. We netted both of them up, and we were like, all right, we got the money in the bag on that one. And we ended up winning it. And it just sparked a fire underneath me. It's like, I love tournament angling after that. Like, just the thrill, the excitement you get out of landing a big fish whenever it counts, it matters. It drove me to where I'm at today. Without that, just that little bit of fire lit underneath me, I don't know if I'd be here right now, but 100%, I want to be here, and I want to keep doing it. I love it. I love the sport of bass fishing.
Sure sounds like you were born to do. I mean, well, you're from North Carolina. Your name's KJ Queen. I mean, it was either this or NASCAR, I would assume.
Yeah. Yep.
What does the KJ stand for?
Christopher Jeffrey with a K.
Oh, I like it. It. I might drop a Christopher Jeffrey on you at some point on stage.
That'll work.
What you said the Classic, you got some of those nervous jitters out of the way, and you want to get back there. What are the most nervous, like, if you look back at the moments at the Classic that you were like, wow, this is the Classic. What were those moments for you?
When I idled out first thing in the morning at blast off, and you look up there, Anderson County has just got the whole place packed. I'm talking from the beach. There's people standing on the beach to as far as you can see where the sun's coming up. There's people to the left and to the right, as far as you can see. I never stopped seeing people. And I was, getting ready, and like, all right, just, don't get too nervous on this. It's like, it's just another derb. Let's just go out. We're just going to go fishing, go focus on it. And, I felt like I did that, very well. I focused and try not letting the pressure get to me as much. But you turn around, you idle through, and you look up, and you're like, holy crap, I'm at the Bassmaster Classic. It's like, it was absolutely insane. So, and I mean, I ain't going to lie to you. When I rolled through and they called my number out, I was tearing up and blasting off, dude. I mean, it was because I've worked so hard to get here. I've worked so hard, and to finally get to that point and to be like, I'm actually rolling out right now in the 52nd Bassmaster Classic. It's like, I teared up because it was a dream come true for me. I've always dreamed of doing it, and to actually be doing it at that time, at the moment, with thousands of people sitting there cheering me on, it was unbelievable. So cool, man. So cool.
Was there a Classic that stood out for you? I always think that, like, for me, I remember, for whatever reason, the Robert Hamilton Jr. Classic, I remember the exact words he said when he won that event, and you know what I mean? But there's certain Classics for people that's the one that they fell in love with the sport. Do any stand out for you? Like, what were the Classics that made you fall in love with bass fishing?
I can't remember the date on it, but it was the one that they had at Lake Wiley. And I can't remember his name. And he caught like 3 big ones, like right back to back to back to back at the end of the Classic. He ended up winning the Classic. And I got down there. What really was the coolest thing for me, and I'm telling you, like, I love the big stage, everybody coming in, just to go through the expo and see this big, giant, massive fish tank with all these big largemouth in it. I'm just sitting there like, I can visually image it in my mind, 6, 7 years old, walking up into the Classic and just sitting there and just staring at this big, massive fish tank. And then I was sitting there thinking, this is the coolest thing ever. It's like, they got these fish inside, like how could they even do this? And then like, and I watched that classic. It was kind of like my hometown lake. I'm only an hour from it. So like, it was like, I want to be that guy at the end of the day, winning that classic. And that's kind of what drove my get there, was watching that classic go down. It's like, this is too cool. Like, this is awesome. It was like my first classic experience I've ever had. First time being at a classic.
Yeah.
And, it was incredible. Like, it was awesome to even be there as a fan and be sitting there in the stage and everything, and how big and blown up everything is. It's like, this is where I want to be. Yeah, it's like, this is the Super Bowl of bass fishing. There's no question in my mind about it, and it is what, it is the Super Bowl of bass fishing. Actually get there and to fish in it, you realize like, this is it, and that's why I want to get back so bad. I want to be there, shake all the rookie nerves off. It's like, I've been here before. Let's go back. Let's figure it out. Let's go win this classic. So, Loudon next year, I'm looking forward to hopefully making it there. I want to be there. We got a lot of tournaments ahead of us, a lot of tournaments. Anything can happen, points wise. So I just got to stay consistent, stay positive, and hopefully I can make it back to the 53rd Bassmaster Classic. So
talk to me about Bethel. You went to Bethel, on a fishing scholarship, which for most people, you are, in my opinion, you are Angler 2.0. And I've talked about this for the last number of years because you guys have been coming, Cody Huff, there's all of the members of that team, really. So many of them, but I look at it and I'm like, the sport's evolving. Like, we used to have pros that would come and they would be flippers and they'd be offshore anglers. But it feels like to me that the anglers that come, especially the anglers that come through the collegiate program, you guys are so prepared just because, it's like you guys learn off of each other, and it's like, it's finally you're being coached, really, and not just by the coaches, but by your teammates. Tell me what do you think makes Bethel so special?
So here's what I took in, and it took me about like 2 years of Bethel before I actually realized this. And I used it all the time. I use it still to this day. You have guys coming in to Bethel. You got guys from Washington State. You got guys from New York. You got guys from Texas. You got guys from Georgia. You got guys from Pennsylvania. You got guys from all over, Missouri, everywhere in between. Everywhere you had guys coming in. And the guys that coming in, they're good fishermen. Gary did a good job of recruiting people in that, our head coach, he did a really good job of recruiting people that was very well, very good fishermen. So you get guys coming in from different locations of the country. And every one of those guys, if you talk to them, just like me and you got a bait that's like your little go-to bait. There's always one or two baits, maybe three baits that's like, I can go about anywhere and I'm going to catch them on this bait. Well, they all had baits exact same from here to there, everywhere in between. And then you take and you combined all those baits together. Then you have an arsenal of baits. Then you have, you got 10 or 15 different lures that work good, catch fish guaranteed everywhere in the country at different places. And you can also take, what was really funny, you could take baits that, maybe here at the house, somebody don't even think about throwing. Nobody even thinks about those baits, but out in Washington, they absolutely destroy them on it. Or up in Pennsylvania, that they whack them on them baits, and it's like, all right, let's take them baits and apply them here, and you catching fish on them. And it's like, all right, well, hey, y'all guys need to try this bait out there. And once they go try it out there, it's like, dude, I'm smashing them on this bait. It's like, it makes a huge difference. Like, and it's just like having something that's really good, but different than everybody else's lures. That's right. So it's like, we'll show up to a weekend tournament at the house. It's like, everybody's got like the same crankbait tied on. It's like, well, that crankbait works really good. And there's, if you do the odds on it, there's going to be one out of the 50 boats there. If they got 50 of them tied on, they're probably going to catch them on it. So it's like, it's a crankbait that's popularly known. Everybody throws it, but I started using that crankbait. I took it out Tennessee when I was out in school at Bethel, and nobody ever heard of it out there. It's like, what are you talking about? What type of crankbait are you talking about? Like, oh, it's just, it ain't nothing much, It's like, start whacking them on it, and it's just like something different. It's something that and that's the whole key in fishing. The same way with our clean tackle, with our tunks and lures. It's something that is different, and it gives you an advantage. It gives you an edge because they've heard 1,000 different rattle traps. They've heard 1,000 baits. Fish are educated nowadays. They're very smart. So you're able to take in the best baits from different locations and apply that into locations that you're in or areas that, say I'm be traveling up north. Well, yeah, I'm going to think about those baits that my buddy from New York told me about when I was in school. But I'm also going to apply the baits that they used out in Washington. I'm going to apply the baits that they use in Texas and everywhere else that is like really highly percentage, catch ratio with the lure. And to be able to use that and combine it together as a team, that's what Bethel did. Bethel used all of that knowledge and it happened with the guys before me. Whenever I was there, when I come into it, them guys, they're winning national championships. They're winning everything, and it's like I seen it coming in how they took different lures and baits from each other and applied into one arsenal. And I think that's one of the biggest players that Bethel has, and you also get not only different baits, but you get different techniques.
Yeah.
And it's like you get, maybe you're taking a rattle trap and you're, down here, we'll burn it and rip it out. And it's like out of the grass. Well, up here we go and we take it and we yo-yo it. And it's like, well, sometimes we drag it slow. And it's like, all right, well, you do all three of those different things when I'm on the water just to see what the fish reacts to, what they're wanting. And then you just kind of roll with it and go with it of what they're wanting to feed with and, feed on. And a lot of times it's bait presentation with a bass. If you don't present the bait the right way, he's not going to bite. Just period. And it's
also like confidence, I imagine, too, because you're not just taking a bait where you're like, okay, somebody showed me this bait. You're fishing with the person that has that much, like just like the baits that you've confidence in. You've got so much confidence in it. So when you fish with somebody that has that much confidence in it, that confidence kind of runs over to you. I find.
Yeah, it does. And it's like, all right, I know this bait catches fish. There's no doubt about it. So then you go out and whenever you start to fish, you don't have any hesitation on the baits. There's no, exactly like what you said, your confidence is all there. So like when you go out and you start trying to be like, all right, well, I got to cover water and I got to figure out, where these fish are. It's like, well, I'm not sitting there in the bottom of the boat retying every time trying on different lures. I know for a fact, the baits that I use, my 10 to 15 baits that I have, they catch fish. So it ain't a matter of me going and trying to figure out, well, they might want this color or different crankbait, this, that, and another. It's like, I know they're going to eat my lure. It's so now I got to cover the water until I get my bait around the fish, and I'm going to catch the fish once I'm around them. There's no question about me catching the fish. It's a matter of locating and finding the fish. Where are they at? Where are they going to? And, that's a huge player for me. That's how I fish my Elite Series. I know for a fact I got baits that I get around one, I'm going to catch him. I'm going to put him in the boat. If he's there, I can catch him, but I got to find the fish. And it helps there's so much wasted time in fishing guessing. Yeah. It's a huge guessing game. It's like, man, well, and that's where, the live facing sonar, like that's taken a lot of the guesswork out of the fishing, because you'll come up to a brush pile, you'll scan over there and look, well, there's 3 there or there's 0 there. It's like, if you have to waste your time, or you can even watch how the fish come up, react to your bait. You can study the fish themselves. You study what they're doing. It might not be that color, or you might have to do a different bait selection, but usually you can study them and see how the fish are reacting if they're feeding that day or if they're not going to be feeding that day. But the difference between throwing a jerk bait over top of a rush pile or a drop shot, so yeah. And it just kind of makes it, same way with the baits. I got confidence that if I get around them, I'm going to catch some fish with the lures that I'm using. So it's a matter of, all right, just cover as much water as possible until you finally get bit. And then, you know, slow down, figure out what's really in the area. But you just got to go wide open. And it ain't a matter of like, all right, well, I'm not wasting countless hours of the day going through different baits. And a lot of people will do that in fishing. A lot of people, you'll see them and they'll get out there and they'll tie on 20 different 30 baits in one day. It's like, all right, now do the math on that. If you sit down and say it takes you a minute to tie up a bait, there's 30 minutes of your day gone. And 30 minutes is everything on the water, you know? I mean, just even 1 minute, 5 casts, that can be all the difference in the world. Yeah. So, and I feel like, you know, fishing is part of percentages. You got to get, you know, your percentage ratio of covering water to where you're going to be putting yourself in a higher percentage of getting bit, making the cast that's higher percentage, taking your time that's wasted completely out of the way. It's all about timing, because I mean, we only have 8 hours a day, and them 8 hours, it's so fast when you're in a tournament setting, and you know everything's going. It's fast paced. It's super fast. So you got to take out all the time that you waste that you don't even realize that you're wasting, because there's so much time that you waste that you don't even realize, like, you know, just even tying on lures. It's like we tied on 30 times a day. Well, that's 30 minutes of your day that's down the drain. It's like it don't do you no good. So
tell me about, because here's the weird thing. You hear people going to places like Bethel and you're like, oh, he's on a scholarship. Number one, I mean, I think the perception by most people is like they're giving him a $500,000 a year or whatever. So I'd like to know like what a fishing scholarship's like. And then I also want to know, what is it like to be part of a powerhouse team like that? Like, do you guys all live together? You know, what is the lifestyle like?
It is. So like on the scholarship wise, you know, we didn't get a full ride scholarship there. You know, we didn't, but to get to go to Bethel and already know in the back of your mind, it's like, these guys are freaking hammers. You know, it's like they've already won national championships left and right. They're at the top all the time. So it's like, all right, well, I'm not going to get a full ride to go there.
But you could have elsewhere?
I
like, is there full ride scholarships out there?
There is full ride scholarships. Wow. Whenever I was coming through, they were just getting in the makes. Like it was in the works of getting created with full rides. And now I know there's guys that's getting full ride scholarships and do bass fishing. And it's like, that's awesome. You know, that's insane. It's incredible to see how much the sport's grown within the last like 4 to 5 years. Yeah. And, you know, to get there, to be at Bethel's team and be like, dude, I'm part of this team. It's like, you know, we're a freaking powerhouse. Like you said, I mean, we really are. Like when we'd show up to the ramp and be like, we'd come and be like, everybody like, oh, dang it, there's them Bethel boys. They're freaking here again. And it's like, you know, it's like, especially like we show up, we fish like our big bass bash that they'd have it on Kentucky Lake. Yeah. And be like, all right, that's on our home waters. It's like, all right, boys, we better see at least one of y'all every hour up here weighing in a big one. And there'd be multiple times where we come in and, you know, the one year that me and my partner, Evan Owery, he ended up winning the big bass bash. We caught like best five, probably like 34, 35 that day. It was insane. We cracked them. And it was like every hour, it'd be like me, Evan, Tucker, all because we could fish 3 to a boat. It's like all 3 of us was like, all right, well, I'm gonna weigh this one in this hour. And like we just went up there, we'd each weigh one in. It'd be like first, second, third, or whatever it would be, whatever it would pan out to. And you look over and you see Cole Floyd and Carl McNeil and Tristan McCormick and Cody Huff, Garrett Enders, all these guys. And they're all like, they're bringing in big ones. And it's just like, it was insane how many, at the end of the day, when they handed out like trophies and checks and everything else, is like, you stand around there and look, it's like, well, there's the Bethel team. They're sitting there collecting trophies, you know?
So did you guys live together? Did you guys have like, is there a bass fishing frat house? Like what is the setup? Or do you all just stay in the Queen machine?
Well, you know, if I had it then, I guarantee you we probably would have had many fun nights in the Queen machine, but we would go, and there'd always be one or two guys that would have a house, and it was just a mad dash over to the house. Everybody was there. Everybody was hanging out. And that's one of the biggest things about it. Like with Bethel. So Bethel's a small school in the middle of nowhere. Okay. I mean, it really is.
But it's right beside Kentucky Lake.
It is.
Because that's literally how I'd heard about Bethel, met people from Bethel at the Classic and whatever. And then we had an event right beside Kentucky Lake, and I drove past Bethel, and I'm like, that's why it's a powerhouse.
Yep. And that's
or one of the reasons.
That's the truth. And it's like, we go to each other's house, and it was a family because it was such a small school, and not everybody was spread out doing different stuff. It's like, hey, it's Tuesday night. Hey, bud, what you doing? You want to watch some fishing on TV? Yeah, come over. Well, let's play us an episode of Bassmaster or something like that. And we'd come over, we'd sit down, all hang out, have a good time. And what made it so special, and I think this is one of the things too that made Bethel a powerhouse in itself, is when you'd hang out with your buddies in a family setting like that, you're getting all the knowledge out of them. They're going to tell you everything. It's not like dock talk down there at the boat ramp and somebody would be like, oh, yeah, you can go throw that so-and-so on a lay down, and they're a foot of water up there and catching them on a crankbait or something. Like they'll tell you just straight up. It's like, this is how I'm catching them. This is what's up. Like, and it made it to where, the same way with me and my dad. I'm going to tell my dad everything about, fishing wise, and he's not going to lie to me about anything. So it made it a family. So all the information you got wasn't a lie. It wasn't some, put on some silly path of you have no clue what you're doing. It's like, hey, this is legit. You might want to try it, and you'll probably catch big ones too. And it's like, it made it where it was just a family. We were a bass family there. Like we went around, we traveled as a group. We played wiffle ball together, basketball together, like everything. It's like the Bethel Bass team. And you could spot us out from a mile away. It's like, yep, that's the fishing team over there. But it was awesome. It was an awesome experience just to even go to Bethel and to get there and to be there around guys that were hammers and that still are hammers.
And I believe that that's true, because I just watched the way you guys interact with people. Like there's times where I didn't know where certain people went to school. And then all of a sudden I'm like, oh, now I see why. Because they're always hanging. Like you guys are still connected to this day, correct?
Yeah, 100%. Just like, for example, Tristan McCormick. He qualified.
Incredible hair. Incredible.
Yeah. Oh, he's got the flow. There ain't no doubt about that. But, Tristan, me and him, to get to fish in the Classic together was an incredible experience just for me and him. Just because we've worked together to get to where we're at. It's like I've spent many hours on Tristan's boat out on Kentucky Lake, or even some other smaller lakes around Bethel. And it's like Tristan spent many hours on my boat, and it's like, for another example, like Cody Huff, me and Cody, we would go fishing all the time together. Like me and Cody, like religiously, like every single year they had a Carl Perkins tournament. And I was like, they fished for like $5,000 or something like that on Kentucky Lake. And it was like every year in the fall. We fished it 3 years in a row. We finished like second, third, and second. So like we never ended up winning it. But like when we both got in the boat, like we always caught fish, it felt like. It was like always guaranteed we're going to just crack them. I can't count how many 30-pound days we've had together. Like, just a day of a lifetime, but we've had multiple days of a lifetime, just catching big fish. And it'd be like, you could see like you could just see and tell, like whenever we would go out there on the water, he would use his little techniques and his different techniques, and I would use mine, and I'd catch big ones and he'd catch big ones. And then we started putting it together and applying it together. And then like, that's whenever we like, you really see, you want to like always want to be better, like especially like high school fishing. I ain't gonna tell you nothing, I want to do better than you. In the end, if you work together as a team, it really helps. And that's one of the things that I'm really thankful for. Cody is traveling fishing the Elite Series with me now, so now I got back to my kind of college roots where we can help each other out. It's like we can bounce ideas off each other. We can let each other know, like, hey, this is what's going on here. This is what's going on there. and we're going to be straightforward with each other. There's no line or this, that, and another. We're here to help each other. And it helps us grow in the end by helping each other out.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think it's also happening at a time in your life when you are learning the most, like you are being force fed by a fire hose because it's natural, and it doesn't have to be fishing. It's anything. But when most of us are lucky enough to be introduced to fishing by parents or somebody in our life. And, for a number of years, it's all what they tell you to do. But as you start to get older and go through high school into college, all of a sudden you're putting the plan together by yourself, but you're putting it together with a whole bunch of other people that are doing the exact same thing. So I imagine it puts learning on steroids, really.
It does. There was
no steroid use, correct?
No steroid. Just fish knowledge. That's it.
I want to talk to you about one thing that happened. I know you probably are tired of hearing the story. You know where I'm going with this, but dude, was honestly one of the most amazing moments, but I could explain what it feels like to fish your first cut on the Elite Series. And I remember, so his first cut is in Orange, Texas, Sabine River. And I remember I showed up that morning, and for whatever reason, I noticed that you were one of the first boats in the water. Yep. And ready to go. It's his first 10 cut. And then 5 minutes before takeoff, all of a sudden I see your boat going to get put on the trailer. So long story short, we don't need to make it painful. You realized you did not have gas and you had to go get gas. To make matters worse, you can imagine what it's like. You made your first cut and you're like, I need gas. So he takes off to the gas station, gets back, and puts his boat in the water, realizes doesn't have his life jacket, must have flown off, then needed to kill switch and everything. But the long story short is you got in the water. I've never asked you this. At what point were you what went through your mind when you first, when you were I could just imagine you sitting there all day being like, I am forgetting something. I have no son of a, tell me what it felt like.
It hit me like a ton of bricks. I sit down and I was sitting there and getting the boat, I'm like, oh man, I'm fired up. We're about to go do this thing today. And I was around some big fish. I even actually took a dang 2-pound penalty during that tournament because I caught 6 fish. And I'm like, I made a cast after I had my 6 boat, and I called Lisa. I'm like, I feel like a dummy. I pulled a rookie mistake, so I had to take 2 pounds off. And I was around.
And 2 pounds in Orange, that's taking. That's honestly like taking 5 pounds in a Florida lake, anywhere anywhere else. Yep.
And it's man. And I was around some really good fish, some really quality fish too. And it's man, that freaking hurt. And then, I already dealt with that the day before, and I'm sitting there and I'm go to blast off, and I'm look down and I'm I'm making an hour and a half, an hour and 45-minute run. It's a long run.
Yeah.
I look down, it's below half a tank. I'm this ain't good. I was Lisa, hey, I gotta get it on the trailer. I gotta get fuel because there's no gas stations or anything like that on the river. It's dude, you gotta get fuel. If you want to make your run back to your fish, you have to get fuel. So I was all right, I gotta do it now. So I went down and I ended up taking I think it was 15 minutes out of my day that I missed on blast off, which, dealing with all of that going on, it probably thrown me off a little bit. I tried not letting it throw me off.
Yeah.
You're here, you made it to the final day, make it to the cut. And it's all right, just focus on fishing. And then it's my heart rate is over, 160, but I'm sprinting through the parking lot 4 or 5 different times trying to get this, that, and another. And it was a mess. I ain't gonna lie, it was a mess, but I feel like it was a good thing. I mean, I got my name out there a little bit.
Yeah.
Gas man, I need to get me some big time sponsorships with some gas company. That's what I need.
I don't even know if you remember, but at one point, you're running, and I think you had flip flops on because I remember, I'm gonna blow out a flip flop, and you're running, and I literally stopped you and grabbed you by both shoulders. And I'm like, dude, just calm down. Nothing you're doing. Calm down. And like the whole time you were just like, and then you didn't calm down at all. It did not have any effect on you whatsoever. We were just happy to see you get back safe. But I mean,
I was glad.
So how many times did you check your gas the night before the Classic? I could imagine that.
It was every single time, every day, every time I got it, put it on the trailer, thought about getting, at the hotel, like, all right, let's check that gas. What we got? I honestly probably didn't even like check it to see if I had gas. I just took it straight to the gas pump and filled it up every single time. Every night it's filled up. So every time before competition, just best believe I got a full tank of fuel in my boat because I'm not doing that again. That was rough.
No, I mean it was, but the reason that I love that story so much is I bet you it happened to other people. I just think that you had I don't know whether this makes you smarter or you had bigger balls or what. A lot of people would just like let takeoff happen and then slide on back afterwards.
Yeah.
But
hey, I was like, man, I got to do my job, and I know I can't do it if I don't get some fuel in this boat. I'm like, screw it. I don't care. Like, I remember like literally putting it on the trailer. Like the guys were like blasting off, and I'm like shooting a gap in between like first and second to like put it onto the trailer. And I was like, oh gosh.
Yeah.
But
well,
you live and you learn.
Yeah.
You live and you learn.
It happens. And trust me, there's many other mistakes that people make throughout the year, and it happens. I wouldn't worry about that. And like you said, it turned into a positive because we talked about you a lot. And and that's, guess, the name of the game, to get talked about in pro fishing. So let me ask you this. Did you do it just to get, was it a publicity stunt? Right now, if you said
no,
the entire industry's going to think you were a genius because you held on to it for a year.
No, not quite.
Wow.
What's sad about that is I rolled through, no lie. This is no lie. I went to 3, not 1, 3 gas stations that morning looking for a breakfast sandwich inside the gas station. Rolled up and parked beside the gas pump. Literally was beside 3 of them before that day. And I was just looking to get some food. I wasn't even thinking about fuel in the boat. I just wanted to get some fuel for myself and did not even think the least bit about fuel. I don't know why. What happened though, what got me is the night before that tournament, I went in and I put my gas nozzle in my boat, and I left and went inside the gas station and got some drinks or something like that. And I come back out, and my phone's nonstop ringing the whole time.
First cut, right? Yeah,
you made the first cut, dude. Like, my phone never stopped blowing up the entire time. It's like, yo, what? That's awesome. Congrats, man. Go whacking tomorrow. And I can't thank my support group enough. I love my support group.
Yeah.
I'm constantly getting phone calls and, positive mental attitude the whole time. And it's, I'm sitting here getting all these phone calls and everything, talking on it, just walk over to my boat and I just take the pump out, put it up, scroll it down tight, and nothing thinking of it. Well, what happened is that fuel pump knocked off when I was inside. And I never looked at how many gallons I got. Every time I get fuel now, it's like, all right, yep, now I know I got that many gallons in there because I didn't do it then. And it definitely cost me a little bit on that one. But
I don't know. It was only 15 minutes. I was amazed at how quick you got back there. Like, to go get gas, but now hearing that you were parked beside 3 pumps. I tried to give you an out. I just told you we can lie to everybody and tell them this was a genius marketing idea, but you made it worse by telling us that you were parked in front of 3 different pumps. But honesty is always the best.
That's it. Truth speaks. And that was a truth 100%. I literally pulled up beside 3 different gas pumps and did not think at all about getting fuel. All I was thinking about was getting some grub.
What's fuel? It's fuel in a different, for a different motor, motor. And trust me, you were well fueled when I saw you running around in those flip flops. It was pretty impressive. Is it true you skipped your high school graduation to fish a bass tournament?
I did. I skipped.
You are a freak. I love it.
Dude, I actually ended up fishing. It was on High Rock Lake in North Carolina, and I went there, and my mom, she's like, she's one of my high school teachers. All right, one of my math teachers in high school.
Oh wow!
she is like, you need to go to this graduation, like, but I'm not going to make you go if you don't want to go. And of course, my dad's like, hey, there's this tournament this weekend, let's do this thing, it's like, and it was like an ABA, I think is what it was. I was actually fishing as a co-angler out of that event. And I went and I was like, nah, I ain't going to the graduation. I want to go fishing. And I went to the lake, went fishing that day. And it was like a double points tournament, and ended up winning the double points, winning the event, and qualified through. I think it was actually a BFL. I qualified through and made the All-American off of that. And,
oh, wow.
Yeah. And I was like, all right, well, that's pretty cool. It's worth it, And it's like, I did the same thing for my college graduation. I didn't walk across stage. We had a college tournament. So I didn't
Your poor parents. I feel like at the Classic, if I'd have known this a week ago, I would have made you wear a robe across the Classic stage or something so they could seriously see you graduate from something.
Yeah. Seriously. Hey, I got my diploma, and that was about it. So I was fine with it. I didn't have to sit around sweating the sun all day. And I was out on the water sweating in the sun, but it's a lot cooler out there than sitting in a bunch of chairs, sitting around listening to somebody talk.
I concur. I agree with you. I didn't make any of my graduations either.
Really?
Totally different reasons, but I did not make them. You said this has been a lifelong dream. What is the dream? Is the dream literally just to be on the elites and make a living? Is the dream to do exactly what you just saw Jason Christie do? What in your head? And I know in fishing it's weird because for whatever reason, and I think it's good that people are humble and whatever, but for whatever reason, people don't like to put it out there and say, this is what I want. But I really think that it's important to put it out there because, I mean, you should want it all, in my opinion.
And what I want to be not only Jason Christie, I want to be, at the top, winning a Classic. I want to be the guy at the top. I want to be the number one guy at the top. KVD, when he come through, he was the man. All right. And whenever I was growing up fishing, that's who I kind of looked up to because he was in that same age. That's whenever he was dominating everything. Like he blew everything out of the water. He just dominated. And when I was growing up and watching it, whenever I was getting into it a lot more and more, his name was at the top and it stayed at the top all the time. And it was like, dude, I want to be that guy. Like, I want to be KVD. I don't want to just go out and do good. And like I want to make a great living out of it. No doubt. Got the twins on the way, worrying about that a little bit, but I want to do really good in my career, but I also want to be the number one guy of bass fishing. Like, that's my whole dream and my goal is to be the Rick Clunn of bass fishing. I want to be legend status. I want to be just like Clunn whenever he's however old he is, now
75.
75. Like that's so impressive. He's probably one of the guys that I look up to the most is Rick.
Oh.
And it's incredible because he's put so much time, so much work into it. He knows what it's all about. Like even to this day, he'll go out on the water. Like my buddy Cody Huff, he's really good friends with Rick.
Really close, yeah.
And he's like, yeah, good luck if you're going to try and even get a phone call in on the Rick, because Rick, when he gets on the water, he takes his phone, cuts it off, puts it in the console. And the only time you're going to hear from him is if he cuts it on and calls you. Like, that's it. And it's like he focuses everything in on the water. It's like he focuses everything into it, and it's paid off for him. I mean, look at him. He's a legend. And to still be getting around and doing it today's time, like 75, 76 years old, dude, hats off to him.
It's incredible.
It is. And he's still catching them, man. He's still whacking fish. And it's just like, dude, you are my hero. There's no doubt about it. I want to be Rick Clunn status. I want to be, number one as considered a legend. I want to go down as a legend in bass fishing. And that's my dream. That's literally what strives me. I want to be the best at the top. And I mean, it's hard. I ain't gonna lie. There's a lot of good fishermen you got to be out there to get there, but it's possible. And that's the whole thing about it. It is possible to do it. You just got to put in a lot of time and a lot of effort.
Everything you've already done is hard. Like, let's be honest. Like, you make it seem simple, but to go through all the ranks that you have to make it to the elites in 1 year trying. I mean, all of that is, some people have referred to just qualifying for the elites as it's almost impossible. It's like winning the lottery. Some people have said you did it in 1 year. So I agree. Like, anybody that listens to this and hears somebody say something like what you're saying, and they want, there is people that'll be like, well, you can't put your name beside Rick Clunn's. Well, who do you want him to put his name beside?
Exactly.
Because you want to be the best you can be. And I think that I respect that about you.
Well, I appreciate it, man. I mean, I truly do. Like, I want to do the best that I can possibly do as a bass fisherman. And I want to be the guy at the end of the day that everybody is looking up to. I can teach the younger generation. I want to get kids more into fishing. I love that. Like, I love I take my little nephew out fishing with me all the time. And it's just like seeing him, the joy he gets out of, even if he's that big, like, it's a little bitty one, but the joy that he gets out of it, it's like, it's awesome. And it's like, I can be a role model for all of the younger generation. I'm like, last year I was the youngest one on the Elite Series.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's my generation I'm looking forward to. And I want to bring them up with me with the fishing industry. It's like, get kids more involved with fishing. And then I still want to be on that side of how people look up to Rick Clunn as being a fishing legend. I want to be looked up to as a fishing legend. I want to get everything combined, and I want to be the guy at the top. I mean, I do. I want to be there.
You work incredibly hard, and that doesn't come just from me. I mean, I've seen some of the stuff that you do, but that also comes from your peers, which I think makes it even more valuable. Is it true that, like, you keep notes in a diary through practice and every event?
I do. Yeah, I really do. I'll keep them in my phone, in the notes in my phone, especially if I'm fishing any sight fishing tournament. If I'm fishing sight fishing tournament, I'm going to have every single one of them wrote down. But for example, when we fished that college tournament on St. Lawrence, like 3 years ago or 2 years ago, and it was just, I mean, if you didn't have 20 pounds, you wasn't even setting in like the top 50. Like, it was incredible. I think it was 55 bags over 20 or something like that. And like, we went out there, and before that event, I had 365 fish marked down in my notes. And every one of them had a defined like note, exactly how big it was, where it was at, exact location, everything. But I had 65 of those notes in my phone. And it was so crazy. After the first day of that event, them smallmouth were so aggressive. I was down to 15 after day one.
Wow.
That's how aggressive them fish were.
Wow.
It was like, it went from 300 to 15. And then I got by with my 15 that I had the next day. And then, I had a decent finish, nothing crazy. But the guys, I mean, it was insane how many big weights were caught in that tournament.
I could have told you that before the tournament started. Actually, Hank Weldon called me and said, do you think this is enough water? Because you guys had a pretty restricted area you could fish.
It was.
And it was. And I was like, what date is the tournament? And he told me, and I'm like, yeah, you'll be fine. Yeah, There's plenty of fish. They're all going to be on this orb pattern. They're all going to be relating to these round orbs.
Yeah.
Speaking of spawning, you brought it up a second ago. You got twins on the way. I'm sure it's exciting, but a little nerve-wracking at the same time.
It is. It's definitely a little nerve-wracking. Mama, she's getting close. I mean, she's not far behind. So, that's still something that's, going back in my mind. But the way I look at it, it's like the better I do is the better off that my kids are going to be able to do. And I'll be able to get them into the same platform that I was able to grow up in on. It's like, I want to make it, I want to do so much better for them just so that they can grow up and be, able to do what I get to do today. It's like, I want them to be able to have that chance. And that's, that's constantly going through my mind. There's no doubt about it. It's like, think about the twins the whole time I'm fishing, but it's like, I got to think about doing well as well, not letting stuff, clutter my brain. I got to focus on what I'm here to do. It's my job. And, it's my job is to put fish in the boat. And in order to do well, the better I do in fishing is the better off that I can do for my kids. And that's my thing that I think about all the time.
When you're on the water, and I think this is something that a lot of fans don't realize, how focused are you? Like because I think I know, like on the Elite Series, it's all in. Like it's shocking what people don't even see go on around them because they're that focused. Are you that focused when you're competing?
I am. I'm like in the zone. Like I can hear a fish fart. Like I ain't lying. Like seriously, like I get focused in and I'll block out everything else. But I tell you something that I'm serious. Like one thing I do, and I've had my best finishes. My best finishes, did it the second day of the Classic, didn't do it day one like a dummy. I will play music while I'm fishing. And play music. But now
in ear headset or like
actual, like in my boat, play it like in a little speaker box that I got with me. Now it's not loud. I don't play it loud at all. It's not loud enough where the fish can feel the vibrations or anything like that. It's like I have enough to where I play like some like relaxing type, maybe some country music or something of that nature.
Like what song would song would come to mind?
Some like Tyler Childers or something of that nature.
Yeah.
And like just something kind of got a nice beat to it and kind of keeps you going, but it kind of like zones everything else out. And when I practice, I listen to music when I practice. We're out there by ourselves from daylight to dark. It's like I gotta have something to do, so I play music, and it's like practice like you play. It's like you get in the zone. Like when I was at this, Sabine down there in Orange, like I played music every single day of that tournament and made it to the cut. And like another one of my really good finishes that year, I played music.
Did you play Running on Empty?
Yeah,
Sorry. You should. Sorry. It's the first song that came to my head.
Oh, that's good stuff. But man, I tell you, I would get in there, get in the zone, and like I just start relax. Like it just makes me focus even more. Like it just like I block everything else out. There's nothing else. I got a little music playing, and there's like studies shown that like if you do your homework and take your test when you're studying, that you'll actually do better in your test taking abilities if you listen to music when you do it. And it's like, all right, well, why can't it not be the same way as fishing? It's like, it's kind of the same concept. I'm out here testing these fish, trying to figure out this, that, and another, doing my homework. It's like, all right, time to take the test. You listen to music when you're practicing, when you're studying for the test. Well, here's the real exam. Here's the exam. Go for it. Listen to music while you're taking your exam. And it helps me. I mean, it really does help me. I'm not going to lie. It makes me focus on, I don't play. Here's the thing though. I don't play. I'm really, really stickler on sounds and vibrations.
Okay.
Like super, super stickler. Like, I'll even go in when I go on my trolling motor. It's never of me ever releasing the trolling motor pedal. I always scroll down on the foot. Like I never pop the trolling motor. Not
really.
Yes. Like I'm super picky on that stuff. Now, my dad's taught me that and raised me up that way. It's like,
because your dad is a hammer. For those of you listening to this that don't know, his dad could probably be on the Elite Series if that was his focus in life.
Seriously, and he really could be. He really is. I mean, he's a true hammer, and him and my granddad. They've been known for the last 30, 40 years at the house, and it's like, God, it's like Bethel pulling up. It's like it's the Queen Boys. and for example, I'm not lying to you. They had an event on a little lake at the house.
But all that's going through my mind right now is the Queen Machine's back doors open and the Queen Boys coming out with smoke. Go amongst yourself. I'm just letting you inside my brain and what I think.
I appreciate that. That sounds like a pretty good entrance. Maybe next time I get to be able to pull the van through the Classic, I'll be coming out the side door or something like that.
That would be magical. Okay, sorry to interrupt your story. Go on. The Queen Boys are here.
So, for example, Dad and my grandpa, they used to fish this Castle Bridge tournament trail every year.
Yeah.
And they'd always have like a championship on Lake James, which is a smallmouth lake on the Catawba River chain on up. And they would always win it almost every single year. Well, they went and they moved the tournament back like a month early. So it's like, all right, we're going to screw these Queen boys up. They've already won the last 5 years. It's like, all right, we got to get this different. Like, you know, what's the, you know, let's change up the dates on this. So they changed up the dates. They come in there and they go to weigh in and they have like a black bag on it. And they come up there and one of the guys like, oh, Queen boys, y'all got them again today. He's like, we got them decent, nothing crazy, you know. And they come in, they have like 23 pounds of smallmouth, just absolutely whack them. Wow. And the guy that's standing there beside of them, he didn't hear them come in and weigh in. And he come up to one of the other guys that was standing there watching it. He's like, dang gummit. He said, I see old Queen over there. And said, what them boys have? Did they freaking catch him again today? And he said, you darn right they did. So here, hand it over. And he said, dang it. This guy made $100 bet with this other guy that they would win over the entire field, even with it in a different time of the month. They're like, I got my money. I put $100 that them boys are going to kick y'all's butt in this whole event. And sure enough, they ended up winning the tournament, and that guy lost his bet on it.
Wow. And you fished. I mean, it's not just that. I mean, you fished with your sister in high school, right? I mean, she's a hammer.
She is a hammer.
Does she fish at all anymore, or she's just
a little bit? Not when we take the nephews out. I take the nephew out. She'll go with us and we'll do some fishing. But she's full time doing nursing and taking care of 2 little ones and on the go. Now she's been stationed down in, like, her husband was in the Air Force and was stationed in Texas. Okay, and they're finally actually home now. So we're actually home where we can get to go fishing a lot more and get to go out. But you know, me and her going up through high school, me and her fished together. We won our state, we won our regional, then we went to nationals. We ended up 7th in nationals. But the next year, or during that summer, that's when Bethel actually got introduced to us. Yeah. And we actually found out about Bethel was at the junior world finals, or a high school world finals. And we ended up winning 3rd in it. And the next following year, we finished 3rd again. And whenever we finished 3rd back to back, that's when Gary Mason was like, hey, you know, she was actually going to school already, like was going to like East Carolina University. She was going there. Like there was no doubt, like she was already registered, like already had her parking pass and everything. And then like Gary's like, hey, we really want to get you on our team. Like, you know, what do we got to do to get you on there? And like, she ended up going to Bethel, and like, she loved the experience and loved everything about it. And, you know, that same instance gave me my lead way into Bethel as well, because we did really good at world finals. And then the next following year, me and my partner, we won state, we won regional, and then we won nationals. And when we won nationals, like, you know, Gary's like, all right, you're coming. What do I got to do? Like, you're here, dude. Like, you got a place. Your sister's here. And then, like, that first year, me and Chelsea, we actually got to fish together. We went out. We had our first event on Lake Norman. It was the Bassmasters Open event that we had for college. And it was on our home lake. You know, Lake Norman, that's my backyard. I'm 10 minutes from the water. And it's like, you know, it's like the nervous jitters freshman year going out and everything else. And I was like, all right, we're just going fishing, dude. It's just another derb. And we went out, we fished it, and we finished 2nd in it. And it's like, man, we're so close to winning it. The guy who actually won it actually blew my motor up on the last day going in, day 3. Had to go. I was coming back in, going to a place where I knew big ones were at, like 100%. They were there, and the guy passes me, goes back in there, who wins the tournament. I see exactly where he goes to, the exact same fish that I was going to. He ended up catching, and he caught it and won the event. And by the time we got in, we trolling motored in just in time to get to play. Wow, it was crazy.
I have a similar type story. Well, it doesn't mean victory or anything, but we had John Cox on here a few weeks ago, and he told us he found the biggest, maybe one of the biggest fish he's ever found in his life on a bed. And he ran all the way there, and he got to the back, and you were sitting on it. Tell me about that fish. I mean, was it as big as John Cox makes it be? And what happened?
Dude, it was probably the biggest fish I'd ever seen on a bed. like hands down, period. It was a freak of nature. It would push water. It would chase a brim out of its bed and make a wake like literally that tall. Like it would push the water. I've never seen a fish. Like you'll see one wake and, you'll get like little bitty, like 2-inch ripples or something come off of it. This thing was throwing a wave that would crash on the bank. Like it was so big. And like, I started on it first thing. And I seen John Cox. I passed him coming through one of the Dora lakes or something like that. Yeah. I'm like, I passed him going down through there. I'm like, oh, it ain't good when he's heading that way. It's like, he probably seen some fish same way. I pull up in there on it and I'm like, get to where there was a 7 here and that like 10 plus was over here.
Yeah.
And I threw in first cast where that 10 was at, let it go down. Boom, it hits it. I'm like, oh, this is her, dude. I wound down to it, jacket, and it's the dang buck. And I'm like, oh, it's like, dang it. It's like, and usually it's like, all right, do I release the buck or do I keep the buck?
Yeah.
Well, as soon as I caught that fish, I seen the female, she went right up onto the bed and started protecting it. I'm like, I got to keep this buck. I'm not putting this buck back. And I put the buck in the live well and started fishing for her. And she stayed there for a long time. But whenever I was fishing for her, she did something really weird. I have no clue what happened if I hit a twig and the twig hit her, but she completely went out and started acting crazy, doing circles and flips like 10, 15 feet off the bed. Like went out doing all kinds of weird circles, like something had a hold of her. And she went out, did all this crazy stuff. It took her about 10 minutes. She come back up onto the bed. I'm like, all right, that was weird, but she's there. Yeah. And I fished for her. I had her to turn on my worm. One time her whole tail stuck out of the water. She's just massive monster fish, dude. My heart, you couldn't even, I'm telling you, my heart was just going like this 1,000 miles a minute. I'm like, dude, she's going to eat it. She's going to eat it. She's going to eat it. And she rolled back over and then chased the brim out of the bed. But I don't know if it was just the fact that she was too busy chasing shiners and brim to where she wouldn't commit to my bait.
Yeah.
Or what it was. But like I worked her really good. I stayed way back from her, made the long cast and everything of that nature. And I thought like 100%, I'm going to catch this fish. Like there was no doubt in my mind, like I'm going to catch it. And then as I was sitting there fishing for it, it's like the fish just all of a sudden disappeared. And I have no clue why. There's not a reason. I did have Drew Benton. He come in behind me.
Yeah.
And he come back behind my boat.
There's evidently, if you have Drew Benton and John Cox in one, there's good fish there, especially in a sight fishing tournament.
No kidding. So I was like, I'm pulled down in between that 7 and that 10. Well, when John first come in, he was like, he tried coming over. I was like, I've started casting that 10. I'm like, I know that thing's there. And he's like, all right. And he come on back around my boat and he was like trying to come into the 7. I'd start casting on it. And I'm like, nah, ain't going to happen, John. Not today, Johnny. I ain't letting it happen. So, I had that. And then when Drew come in there, he's like, dude, you care if I go past you right here? But cause it was like at the mouth of like a little canal type deal. And he's like, dude, you care if I just go right here behind you and go past you? It's like, I have one in this corner. I'm like, nah, dude, go for it. It's all right. Whatever, just go for it. He goes back there and catches one like 4 pounds. I'm like, ugh, I didn't see it the day before. I didn't see that fish in there because it was shaded right where that fish was at. And I never had a clue that fish was even there. Now I probably would have went down through there looking and maybe would have seen it, but I told him like, go for it, dude. Like you got it, like fish for it. He throws over there and catches it. I don't know if it was his transducers and like his sonars that were pinging that made that fish leave or what it was, but I was really far back from that fish and he come in behind and fished for it. And then after he come back by and left, it seems like that fish just left and it just disappeared. I don't know like why or what the reason was behind it, but she wasn't there. She had just completely up and left. And it was the biggest fish I ever seen in my life. I mean, it was a freak, man, just huge. But it's like I spent 3.5 hours on that fish.
Yeah.
And it's like,
you got no one to hold them and no one to fold them.
That's right. You really do. And it's like, I messed around that day, and I'm like, dude, I was going to stay in the same area. And I said, there's a lot of pressure. There's a ton of boats in here. There's been boats in here. I got to get out of here. And I run all the way back up to Harris. I'm like, it's at like 2:00, you know? I'm like, and I run back in there, and I salvaged up 15 pounds in Harris. At the end of the day, catch like a 7.5 and everything else off bed. And I'm like, luckily I did that and didn't fall apart down there trying to force a bite that I don't even know if that was even going to be there. Cause like, I mean, there was big ones there. I mean, there was monsters in that whole area. Seen a ton in practice and everything else, but the pressure was just so much. I had to go back, and I had two places that I could go, and I could go and jump a log and then work around it and like measle my boat through this big giant log jam. And I would finally pop out on the other side, and I could get in there, and there was fish everywhere, and you could throw to them first cast, and it's like they'd eat every time. You could tell they never been touched. And I was like, all right, dude, you got that one spot, go back and fish it. Like, you got to salvage your day. And that's what I did. I went back and I salvaged my day. And the next day out, I'm sitting there like, dude, you know, the pressure's going to be there. Go back and get you another good solid bag. Like, go to where they're not pressured at. And I went back into where they weren't pressured at, had a decent bag. And then the following day, I did the exact same thing. It was just more fish coming to me.
Yeah.
And I was very fortunate to catch what I caught, you know, coming to me. But the key was just finding somewhere that somebody hadn't been just down there beating them up or sticking, you know. And it's like you had a lot of locals out kind of beating on them and stuff too. So it made it really tough. And, but I was fortunate to catch what I caught. And dude, I had one. Oh, I can visually see to this day to a T, man. I had a fish on the bed, and there was a tree right behind it, in between me and the fish. And I threw up there first cast and caught it first cast. And it was like a good solid 3.5 pounder. And I looked and I seen the buck, and I'm like, dude, there's two of them. I was like, this other one's like a 4 1/4. I'm like, dude, that's a stud. You know, I need it right now. Yeah. So I like throw back in there. He comes up to it and like nips it and like blows it out. I'm like, oh, I'm going to catch you though. I know where you're setting at. So I let the boat drift in between me and this tree. All right. The tree's in between me and the bed. And I'm sitting there looking through all this Spanish moss. And it's not that far away. It's probably a van length away. And I'm looking through it. I'm like, all right, I see it. So I take my rod and I'm like throwing on the other side of this tree, like wrapping it around it, setting it down in there, and like looking through the moss, sitting there watching this fish. I mean, camouflage is really good. He could not see me. That fish bites it. Like, oh gosh, I wind down to it, and I set the hook sideways because I had all the tree in front of me. I set the hook. I got her come up. She come up beside the boat, and I'm like, heck, I got her on 17. I'm putting her in the boat. And I go to flip her, and I flip her up, and like she literally, like, this is the carpet, and her nose comes up on the rub rail, touches the carpet, hook comes out, stops, and slides back in. Dude, I dove like almost like all the way in the water, like just head first after this fish, just trying to grab it, you know. And it's like, oh, it was so close. But it's like, if I have that one fish in, I make it to day 4, and I got a good shot at possibly doing really well in it. You know, I mean, anything's possible in Florida. You can pull up and catch 2 10s off one bed, you know. So it's like, and that's the style that I was doing. You could see, you know, Clifford Perches around some giants fishing there as well. And it's like, you know, that's my expertise. I like to sight fish. I love doing it. And it's like, dude, you're so close to, you could possibly do really, really good in this event. Maybe win it even if you just get that one extra fish in the boat. But it makes it like, it's a really hard line. There's a fine line in between boat flipping a fish and going down and grabbing a fish. Yeah. Like it really,
and
like
it's a split-second decision. Like you can't, if you stop to think about it, both go wrong. It seems
exactly, like. And it makes it. It really is like that's one of the hardest things I struggle with the most is when to flip one and when not to flip one. Like, for example, I feel like an idiot. I was down at Fork last year, and I'm sitting there fishing, and I throw in I didn't even have a spook rod on. Okay. I had a frog rod in my boat, and I seen these birds sitting on this flat point. And I'm just like, dude, I'm kind of struggling second day. It's windy, kind of cloudy, overcast. I'm like, I wonder if there's like a shad spawn going on or some type of deal right here. I'm like, let me just try. Like, I'm coming out of the pocket that I just fished, like just out of it, out on the main lake part. And I'm like, let me just try this. I'm like, I reached down in my box, tie me on a spook, get it up, fire it in there, like second cast, just, oh, monster, dude. I'm like, I got her. She's big, dude. She's big. And I get her, she's coming to the boat, and she comes up and jumps like at the last second at the boat. And I just go to lift her on into the boat to swing her in. When I did that, my treble hook, I had like a thick treble hook, it snaps. And the fish comes off, hits the side of the boat, and goes back in. And you're just sitting there like, dude, if you would have just reached down and grabbed that fish, what's the chances of you getting it in and what's not? And it's just like, you know, there's other times where I've had them come up and jump beside the boat, and it's like you've lifted them on into the boat, and then the hook comes out of them. Yeah. When they hit the bottom, it's like, how much longer was that fish even going to stay on? And it's like, that's where it makes it tough for me. I finally started using Buck and Bass. They've come out with some gloves, and them fishing gloves. And if you ever watch Polnick fish, and a couple of them boys, like, he always wears gloves. And I
because he's been hooked like 18 freaking times. I mean, he takes his life in his hands every time he lands a fish. It's almost like he likes to tickle the treble.
Tickle them up and pull them on in. But it's like, when you start using them gloves, you realize how much of an advantage that you have over not having them on. Your hands on the back slick. Like, you know, you grab one, it's slimy, it's slick. Just having that extra bit of cloth, it makes it where you can, like, you grab the fish, you lock into them, or when you go to swing him over and put, you know, bellying, it's like there's no slippage. It don't slip off either side. It's like it's gripped. It's got the little grippers in the glove, and you put him in the boat, and it makes it really nice. Like, I started last year near the end of the season doing that, and I landed, my percentage just went up crazy by using gloves. And I started looking, you know, I'm watching like Polnick fish, and like, you know, I look up to them guys. Like, every time I'm at an event, dude, I'm sitting there listening to everything that all of them boys are saying, because they've done it so much longer than I have. They have the knowledge. Yeah. And like, I'll ask them questions, you know, I'm like, you know, a fan in myself, sitting there asking questions, you know, asking them about it, this, that, and the other. And it's really kind of cool because, you know, you go and you ask a lot of like local people, local guys at a tournament, they're not going to tell you what's going on. They're not going to tell you straight up, like, this is it, or this, that, and another. Like, they'll just lie to you straight up. And it's like, I can almost feel like almost every one of the elite guys I go to and talk to are just straightforward with me. Like, they just tell me, like, yeah, dude, like, remember, like, you go around this little point and there's like this patch of grass, and it's like, yeah, it's right there. And I threw this, and this in there on it. And like, that's how I caught them. Like, I seen you go over there and do that. It's like, how'd you catch, you know, and you just talk. And it's just like, it's kind of like the same concept that we go back to with the Bethel bass fishing, like how we would talk and communicate. Now, obviously, they're not going to tell you exactly what to go in and exactly what to do, but you can get a lot of information off of just listening to what they have to say.
Yeah, and it's weird. I had a conversation with a few different pros at the Classic about this very thing, and I was like, the weirdest thing is when everybody gets together nationally, for the most part, they all get along, and you know what I mean, with the odd exception. And generally, there's a story connected to it. You know what I mean? And everyone's trying to make a living, and I get that. I think that's normal. But for the most part, nationally, everybody gets along, and everyone really helps each other. But at the same time, every single one of those guys, when they go back to whatever state they're from, there's some dude that hates their guts. Like, it's weird how there is, like, there's local support, which is awesome, but there's always like one little caveat of, I beat him 10 years ago. He's not that good. It's such an odd thing, but I think it's confidence too. You know what I mean? Polnick's comfortable in his own skin. He also, one of the things I really like about Brandon, he's always been like this, even when he was the new guy, he thinks bigger term. You know what I mean? He doesn't just think about, man, I want to win as many as I can win. He wants to make the sport better. And I think that That's a lot of what you see there. Now, listen, we did this whole interview inside the Queen Machine, so I need a tour. Can you
All right.
I was scared we would lose signal, but if we lose signal, this part of the show's over. But show me how you live.
All right.
I like how you have the sponsor placement on the roof.
Yep. Got to get the sponsors in there. Got all those. Got the different baits hanging up, different little juice baits. For example, come over here. We got our underwear drawer. Thing off the bat. I got to tape it up though. Yeah. Because if you don't tape it up, I've done it too many times. These drawers will slide out and your underwear will be everywhere.
Weird story. You know that same Tupperware, and I swear to you, this is the truth. That is Mark Zona's luggage. If you ever hang out with Z-Train, that is 1,000% the luggage. Like not in a plane. I don't think they allow you to. But if it's a drive-to shoot, he shows up with Tupperware drawers just like that.
That's how I am.
Oh, look, we're all flipped around here now. Oh, our perspective is so off.
Can you
Where
see
do you
that?
sleep? Where do you do you sleep amongst the rods or? Oh, here's it's camouflage.
Camouflage. Got to mix it on in. Got to have all the wine, all the shirts hanging up. Got all the food and drinks in the back. Got some extra little food and little drinks down here in the lower part. Got some tools in here. Of course, got to have the microwave. Got the Queen Tackle microwave, you know.
Where's the microwave?
Oh, can you not? Here, hold on one second.
I didn't see it there. Can't believe this is what we do for a show. Look at us. I'm going to tell my kids how hard I worked today. Oh, I see it. Yeah, it's red.
Yep. Got the Queen Tackle microwave.
So if I ever get a hankering for some microwave popcorn, I know whose door to come knocking on.
Yeah, that's right. I got you right here, man. I'm telling you, I got stacked up on popcorn in here. I eat it going out of style. I ain't gonna lie. I mean, it's a nice little easy snack. It's a
nice little treat. Makes you feel happy, warm in your belly.
Right.
Are you going to be looking at them at Santee? You think you're going to be looking at them?
I hope so. That's the game plan, at least. The game plan is to be looking at them. Now we're going to have that hard cold front. It's coming in, tonight, tomorrow, it's Sunday, first day of practice, like high 54, low of like 30 or something like that. So I'm like, I'm not sure what's going to be going down then. Now I'm going to probably go and do a lot of looking for some older beds, going to go try and check out stuff of that nature, just seeing where they like to go to, because if you keep looking at the weather, it's going to be down cold Monday or Sunday. Then Monday, it's going to be like a 65 high, low of like 40. And then from then on out, it's going to be like 68, 70, lows of like the low 50s. And as long as it stays above like the lows in the like mid 50s, they'll stay up there and they'll do their thing. But it's just a matter of whether or not the cold front's going to completely like cut them down, shut them off, or if it's going to maybe hold them off a little bit longer. So whenever we get there, it's going to be, game on ballpark. It's going to be happening, doing its thing. So I'm thinking that there's definitely going to be some big ones call off bed. No doubt. There's no question in my mind, because the weather's too perfect. 78, 80 degree days, springtime. We have a full moon starting. I think it's on Wednesday or Thursday is the full moon. The 18th is somewhere in there is the full moon. Maybe second day of tournament.
Yeah. Second day.
Yeah. Second day's full moon. So they're going to be coming. I mean, there's just no question about it. Like, they're going to be big uns on their way. And I think it's going to be a lot of like, your first day of practice on Sunday might actually hurt you more than it will help you, just because you might get in an area and not find any beds or anything like that might be really good come Thursday, and it completely throws you for a loop and you're out doing something completely different. Now, I'm going to keep that mindset of, they're probably already made some beds. I'm going to be looking for empty beds, used beds. If they don't have a fish in them, I know there's probably going to be one using it by the end of the week. So that's definitely my game plan. I got the Queen Tackle switchblades. I got all them rigged up, ready to rock and roll.
Nice.
See them. But definitely some little green pumpkin green action. That's my hands down go-to color. It's just, I catch them everywhere in the country on that color. I don't know why. I've done it in college. I've done it in the opens. I've done it in the elites. It's like you sit here and look at my hold on.
For a split second, the perspective actually was the right shape there. For just one split second, we looked.
One split second.
Yeah, we're right back to crap now.
Oh, dang.
There we go. Right. There we go. We're good. We're good. We're back. Don't. All right. Look, you got it all rigged. You're ready.
Rigged and ready to rock and roll right there. But that's what
Sorry, go ahead. Is it Christopher James? Is that what you told me it is? Christopher
Jeffrey.
Christopher Jeffrey.
Yes, sir.
All right. I'm excited. I'm excited to see you at Santee. And I'm excited. You've been great on this show, dude. I mean, you're so quiet on the stage. Well, where did this all come from? Are you hopped up on Diet Mountain Dew or what?
Oh, dude, I'm jacked up. The Classic got it all started. It's all right. Dude, I'm telling you, what we did on the stage the second day of the Classic with having everybody holler and scream.
Yeah.
Dude, it's got my heart just racing, man. It's like, dude, to feel that roar of just that crowd, dude, it was incredible. You know what I mean? Just absolutely incredible. And, to get there, to finally make it there, be there, it's awesome. But what's even more awesome would be make it back and do it again next year. And that's my game plan. I want to be there again from year in, year out. So
make it happen, dude. I know you can. You've made everything else in your life happen. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been Christopher Jeffrey Queen, also known as KJ Queen.
That is right.
And there you have it, your exclusive tour of the Queen Machine. Very few people get a chance to look behind the hallowed doors of the Queen Machine. And I thank KJ Queen for that. And that was a pretty unique interview with somebody who I think, outside of the van and all that sort of stuff, really, he is Pro Angler 2.0. And I really think that him and a group of anglers that just went through that collegiate program. You see this happen in other sports where it evolves. And at one point you could be a flipper and make it on the elites. At one point you could be a cranker and make it on the elites. Today's angler comes out of college so well-rounded, so driven, so centered. And even if they have to live in a van to do it, they're going to make it happen, and it'll be unique. Keep an eye on that dude, KJ Queen, an incredible angler, incredible family background in angling, incredible collegiate career. And for the first 20 minutes of the interview, he was incredible at pimping Queen's tackle. So please support the young man and buy something. We'll put a link down below. Speaking of supporting something, The Cull every Monday morning at 6 a.m. It launches on Bass Talk Live's YouTube channel and our YouTube channel and all our streaming platforms. If you subscribe to Bass Talk Live, you should subscribe to our streaming platform, which is the Mercer podcast. And if you subscribe to Mercer, you should subscribe to Bass Talk Live just to support us both, because that's the only time we get along, when we're asking you to subscribe. Other than that, we just argue about stuff. And every single week you can chime in. It's a 10-minute podcast with one topic and a lot of different opinions. It's called The Cull, hosted by Matt Pangarak from Bass Talk Live and myself, Dave Mercer. And we've spent a lot of time together on this Wednesday. Happy Hump Day. Thanks for being a humper. If you're watching it after Wednesday, you can be a humper any day of the week. That's it for me. Uncle Bob, take it away.
Thanks for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe, because Bob Cobb of the Bassmaster told you to. You hear?